Yo, back with another video, episode 2 of the series of Road to 1 Million. And as you can see by the thumbnail, obviously this week was not a good week whatsoever. But I will say that I've learned a lot of valuable lessons from my decisions, and I think that's always important whenever you're trading and you do take a loss, is just learning from it. So that way you don't make the same mistake or same decisions again that will lead to essentially just the same mistake. This is what I woke up to Tuesday morning, and I'm sure a lot of people would have had a mini heart attack. For me, I think I definitely was in shock, because I was up so much the day before. I was up at one point 26,000, which not in profits, but my account value. And the big drop right there happened because there was a drop in the price of space, where essentially there was a stock halt, and after that happened, a lot of shares were sold, a lot of positions were closed right around here, and it got down all the way to about 630, the high being close to $9. So I waited it out. When the market opened back up, the value of my option contracts went up. It went back down. At these 2 points here were both, I think my account value I was down like 1,200. So it was around like 18,000. But as the day went on, the stock recovered, and I thought things were good until the next day. This happened. And not only did this happen, and I hate to admit it, but I ended up waking up late because I was very tired that morning. I woke up around 30 minutes before market open. I saw where my positions were. I saw that it was going to be like a down day. I didn't think much of it. Market open, the stock tanked. And not only that, before market open, there was news that the company, Virgin Galactic, was going to be issuing new shares. So when they did that, it was a big drop off. And it's definitely unfortunate because I think without that news, it would have just kept going up. But a lot of people ended up selling, and it just never recovered from there. So this was the final result. I had sold a lot of crypto to get into a third position on Monday. The call contract was pretty expensive at the time. So even though it did go past $8, after this drop, even around here, my position really didn't gain much because the call contract cost so much. I still ended up losing money. But these types of decisions here, I think ultimately is just about having peace with the decision. It was a YOLO play, and it had a ton of upside. If the stock would have gone to $10, I probably would have been up close to 25 to 30,000. So it was a risk that I was willing to take. I made peace with it. I put in the trade, and this was the outcome. I think a lot of people who do YOLO plays or do a lot of hoping when they trade, when they end up losing the money, it messes up their psychology for trading, or even like their emotional state, which then can lead you to revenge trading, which then leads into blowing your account, and now you have no money to trade. and you end up resenting trading and you have negative thoughts about trading. But that's why you set a great foundation for yourself, learning the trading psychology and being okay with losses. So I know at one point this was up 5,500. On Monday this was up 3,200. I did take some profit off on Friday. It's about 5 contracts off of this one. But, Monday I should have took 5 more contracts off, but I got greedy because just thinking about if I had these 5 contracts with the rest of these contracts, my position on Monday would have been up probably close to 65 or 7,000. So it is what it is. I think that I definitely learned the lesson when I am playing things like meme stocks. And I did get a signal that this was trending when I originally took the position. I think that waking up late was definitely not the move, because this probably would have been closer to maybe 2,000. This one I probably would have still been up probably close to 700, and then this one would have been around 2,000. So I lost a lot of money just because I wanted to choose to be sleep or get an extra hour of sleep. But lessons learned, and there's no crying in the casino. Anytime you're doing YOLO plays, you lose money, you don't cry about it. You just got to own up to it and move on. And I know it sounds heartless, but when you trade, that's how you got to be. You got to be, it's on to the next. You lose money, on to the next. You make 10, 15, 100, 200 extra money, it's on to the next. Because you don't want to get into the cycle of just like being too high in wins and being too low in lows, because then you start to act irrationally. That's not what you want to do. Trading is a very psychological game where you have to be mentally sharp in your decisions, because you can end up losing a lot of money. But at this point, my account value is almost at 12,000. I did take 1,000 out to buy some crypto because it was cheap. Crypto's been crashing for the last few days, but today I practiced more on some 0 DTE strategies. I think this one I was up probably close to, I did the math, like 1,200, but the market started to reverse, which was definitely unfortunate on my end, because I got in right about here, it went down, and then it just started to go back up. When it hit my stop loss, that's it. That's, you just gotta cut your losses. Otherwise, if I would have had stayed in this, I probably would have lost close to 2,000, because that's how much the contract was worth. I had 20 contracts. So actually, I'm sorry, I would have lost 1,500, but that's why you cut your losses early, and you just don't second guess it. Even here, I got another signal to go long. I'm not used to trading intraday, but today they did remove the pattern day trader rule, so I definitely could have got back in and just probably right around here, and then just kind of wrote that up. This probably would have been close to 1,500, but sometimes it's okay not to take trades when you just don't really feel like your mental is there. or you're not as mentally sharp, or you just feel like emotions are playing a bit too much into your decision making process. You rather just not take the trade at that point. So that's what I did. I have been taking some positions off just because of upcoming economic data, SpaceX IPO, and financial conditions tightening. I just rather be on the safe side, not be in too many positions. I closed some this morning. I think that even on this account here, that's sort of mimicking as if I were trading professionally. I think a lot of the time I took a lot off the table. I closed one position earlier today. Thinking about taking this AMD off soon. Don't know when, but these two, I'm gonna let this one run. This is a credit spread, so I'm almost at 70%. I'll have to look at the data behind it, but I'm gonna pay close attention to this one because I was down this morning. But just overall, my performance this year has been pretty good. I'm up 12% on the year. The S&P is up about 10.5%. Oh, just about 10%. So beating the market by about a 1.5%, which could have been more, but I'm practicing for level 1 options for this prop firm, where for level 1 you can just only trade spreads. So I stopped doing a lot of the calls. Here I was up 8% while the market was going down. So as you can see, the market was down almost 8%. At that point, I was up almost 8% on this account. And I think, well, actually, I know definitely what happened was I just had too many correlated positions that I put on. So whenever the market reversed, I suffered a big loss. And to go from almost 8.5% to, even negative 4%, within a 2-week time period, that's a lot. That's a 14% difference. So after this, I did lower my risk substantially. Probably about half of my positions, or half of my previous risk tolerance, I cut that in half. So, even after doing that, to still be outperforming the market, even though it's pretty close, almost 12%. I think that's still definitely progress, and just being aware of kind of where we are in terms of this market, and it being definitely overextended by a lot, because it's been up close to 20%, actually 21%, since the start of or end of March. So up 12% without any calls. I think that's definitely good because it capped my upside just doing the spreads. But I think that definitely learned the lesson. And it's always good to be patient when it comes to putting on new positions. It's always good to be cautious and taking off positions, just because you don't want to experience what I experienced here, where in 2 days I went from like 4,500 down to 1,200 because I had too many correlated positions that were put on. But these two, I don't know what I'll do. I might let those run. I might close them out early. I might put on positions for or towards the end of this session. Even though, I've had my ups and downs, I think. So even like back through here, there were some mistakes made. Like I know there was one position I had put on where I did a put credit spread on something that was trending downwards. So I should have did a call credit spread, which I wanted to do, but because I was at work and I wasn't like really like focused and I was just doing things like pretty fast. When I put on that put credit spread and the market was going down, the value of that contract went down a ton. And I had a lot of money on a position. It was like 4,500, which at that time was a lot of my account. So I made sure I hurried up and closed that out because that would have been bad. So within a few minutes, I lost like 500 off of a mistake. So, lessons, experiences. But, since start of March, I'm still up 30. Actually, I'm up 54%. So even though I can't be up 200%, definitely on the right path of where it is, where I'm going. And, I'm very optimistic about it. So this is episode 2 of the Road to a Million series, and I will be back for episode 3 this weekend to provide an update and kind of what it is that I'm going to be, looking forward to for this next week. Some of my different analysis and things like that. So, peace.